Yo, how is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Down Podcast, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. I am your host, Chris Malpe, and I am joined with my co-hosts, Parth and Jaylen McClinton. How's it going, guys?
Good, boys. Same, great day.
So, today we are joined with a very special guest, as rivals will clash on this episode of Bear Down. We've got the host of the Ramblin' Matt Ramage podcast. You can find that on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, joining us on the show today. Matt Ramage, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man.
Absolutely. This one might get a little bit intense today, but we're really excited to pick your brain on the NFC North and everything going on with the Bears and Packers.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, we each have a couple questions for you, but I think there's no better spot to start than this one. How did you become a Packers fan?
Well, I was born in Green Bay, so I grew up being a Packers fan, and that's how my hatred for Bears started. Is my best friend was a Bears fan next door.
Okay.
So my family was diehard Packer fans, so they would joke he can't come over on Sundays, and so it was inbred in me early that Bears are bad.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's all right. I've always been a Packer fan.
Okay. Parth, you got your first question for him?
I sure do. So, you had a podcast with former Bears and Packers safety HaHa Quincy, February of 2019. How was it meeting HaHa, and what does your relationship mean to you?
With HaHa, how it first started is I was doing those little cleat phone videos. I don't know if you guys saw those.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah, he posted something on his story, playing around with his cleat, pretending like he was on a phone. So then I took that video and I made my own little joke video, and then he followed me, and then I think first on Twitter and then on Instagram, and then he messaged me, I'm gonna repost that. So then he reposted it, it went crazy, it big, and everybody was talking about it. But then he just started sending me more videos through DM, just joking around, and then I'd make a video out of it. And
Awesome.
then we started talking, and then I asked him to do my podcast earlier, but it's tough during the season for them. So then he said, "Hey, I'll come to your house and do it." And I was like, "You don't got to come to my house." I was like,
"Yeah,
I can
holy
come
crap!"
Because I actually live north of Green Bay now. I don't live right in Green Bay, close and really close, but so it's it was a drive for him. And then he was
awesome.
just the coolest guy. When he came, he was real respectful. He took his shoes off. I was like, you don't gotta take his shoes off, But
Yeah.
he was just the most real dude. I always tell people, I would never guess he was a football player just by meeting him. He's very humble. He's just a really cool guy.
That's awesome. Jaylen, what do you got?
So you live in Wisconsin, so you clearly know about these cold winters that we go through, in the fall. So quite possibly for that reason, Lambeau and Soldier Field are two of the most shared fields to play in the NFL history. What do you think makes it so special about playing Green Bay in the winter, and have you ever traveled to Soldier Field yourself?
No, I've never been to Soldier Field. I've been told by some Bear fans that bad things would happen if I did. But I think both Lambeau Field and Soldier Field, are the two most iconic, football fields in the NFL. Just because part of it being outside and just the history, because the Bears have a really deep history too. And I think the more new stadiums pop up, I don't know. I think that the Vikings Stadium, that's it looks like a mall.
That place is cool. I will say I was there last year. That was really sweet.
Yeah, I think that they're nice. Even the Cowboys Stadium is really, really nice. But I think the old school style, the dirt, the playing outside, you know what I mean? I think there's something special about that.
Absolutely. So, some of your guys' best tight ends in Packers history during the Rodgers era have been guys like Jermichael Finley, Andrew Quarless, Richard Rodgers. For that reason, do you think the quarterback, a.k.a. Aaron Rodgers, plays into the success of tight ends in Green Bay? And how do you think Jimmy Graham will do in Chicago? Because a lot of people are really hating that move by us.
Yeah, I actually like Jimmy Graham, but I think that it didn't work out in Green Bay as well as people would wanted it to, especially how much he got paid. But he's a huge tight end, and who knows, when you go to a new team, a lot of times, you pick up, because he was obviously great in like New Orleans. So if he can pick that up again, he'll be good. But Green Bay, it's weird, like with tight ends. Like some tight ends just like blossom, but sometimes the Packers just don't use them as much as they could. But I'm hoping that Jay Sternberger really steps up this year and does some big things.
Absolutely. Parth, what do you got?
When I've been at Bears-Pack games throughout the years, there is always something in the air that makes the games better to watch. All these aside, do you have a genuine appreciation for every time the Bears and Packers play, and do you think it's the best rivalry in football?
Yeah, I definitely think I think it's the best rivalry in sports, but I'm like totally biased.
Yeah, so are we.
But like going to a Packer Bear game, because I'd never been to one until this last season, and I was like up in the box or whatever.
That was a really good game too.
Oh yeah, that was a weird game for me because someone invited me from Facebook, because every now and again people be like, hey, you want to go to a game with me? And I don't even know them, but it's free, so I'm like, yeah. So I went, and I didn't know that we were going to be sitting like in the box there, in the warm, because it's a cold day. So I'm like all geared up, like 4 pairs of pants, like long johns, like 3 pairs of socks, and then we're in the box and it's like 80 degrees. And then he got a phone call where something happened, his personal stuff, so he had to leave. So I was like alone watching the game, like just watching through the glass. It was like a really bizarre game to watch because, when you watch a game alone, especially at the stadium, I've never been alone at Lambeau Field before. And so it's like you celebrate, but then you like turn around like there's no one there.
Yeah.
It was like I was in this weird box.
Absolutely.
It was great, though. It was awesome. That was a great game.
Awesome. Jaylen, what do you got?
So, what are your thoughts on the whole Rodgers family situation, and do you think that could possibly lead into a conflict inside the locker room?
I don't really think it matters because, like, I know a lot of Packer fans talk about it. A lot of, especially rival fans, talk about it. But, like, for me, like, I don't think their personal lives matter because back in the day, like, Tony Romo would be dating, like, Jessica Simpson, and they'd make all of the things about it. And when Rodgers was dating whatever girl, I forget her name.
I forget her name, too. I know who you're talking about, though.
Yeah, it was, like, the biggest thing. But, like, I think, like, I don't think it matters because, like, I don't know, like, the truth of how that beef happened or, like, what happened. But I just think that their personal lives, like, I don't try to focus on their personal lives.
Absolutely. So you wear a lot of merch, and your merchandise is famous for saying Bears still suck. But in reality, coming into 2020, a lot of people believe that the division will be between our teams. How do you think it'll play out within the NFC North, and what do you think of everything that the Vikings lost this offseason?
Yeah, the Vikings, like, I hate the Vikings. Because, like, this is what I tell people, and some Packer fans don't like this, is that, like, Viking fans to me are, like, the most annoying. Like, this is our year type of, they're just nasty. They're like, and I know a lot of people think I'm nasty because I dance around Bears still suck stuff. But I actually, like, I get along with Bear fans. Like, I follow some on Instagram. I know some. We have, like, respectful conversations. Like, I'm not the kind of guy I'm not rude. It's always fun. Yeah. But I think this year with the Packers and Bears, like, it could go. I think this division will be really interesting this year, and like the Lions are always ready to like step up because they always have like some fluky year where they start good, and they just go back to being Lions, and they.
Yeah.
But so you never know with them. But the Vikings, the much that they lost, like I don't see them. I don't know. Their defense is really good, but they lost so much.
Absolutely.
So I'm not sure that they can compete in the division.
Absolutely. Do you think that with the expanded playoff that the Bears and the Packers can both make the playoffs this year?
Possibly. I think that expanded playoff stuff is going to be really, really interesting because there's going to be like some divisions. But like it's weird because like every year like you think a certain division is going to be really strong. And then like last year, I thought the Packers, Vikings, and Bears, I thought that they were all going to have good years. And then it just didn't go out that way. But yeah, I think that there's a very good chance that the Packers and Bears could have good years.
Absolutely.
This year.
Parth, what do you got?
You've met a lot of Packers players throughout your time as a fan. Some to mention like Preston Smith and James Starks. Which one's been your favorite player so far?
That one's tough because like haha, I'll always have love for haha. Like no matter what, like obviously he like went to my hated rival, and then went to like my number 2 or 3 hated rival right after.
Yeah,
I hate the compliments too.
absolutely.
But he's always been nothing but cool to me. He's came to my house. Like how many players would ever do that? But Preston Smith is like a really cool dude too. Like I talked with him on DM. I went bowling with him. He's like they're basically like kind of like the same person. They're just like humble people that you wouldn't really know are Packer player or football players at all, and they just treat everyone like I haven't been haha in public, but he just treated me like anyone. And Preston Smith at the bowling alley, like people would recognize him. He's just a really cool guy.
I think people don't realize at some point that these people are also humans too. I think there's also a couple players on the Bears who are like that. Notably, Aaron Lynch, who's a free agent right now. He's been online with fans a lot. Pat Scales, who we're having on the podcast in a couple of days. So it's cool to see the players kind of be down to earth with fans.
Yeah, I think most are, because I've talked to quite a few players. I've had some on my podcast, and they're all just like they're just people. Like I think a lot of people don't realize that. So, like some Packer fans do that. Like a player will leave, and then they're just nasty. They're just like, oh, this guy, like just like with the haha and Amos, basically a trade. Because they, I mean, not direct, but like I've seen like Bear fans like Amos is better than haha, and then when he went over there, like no, haha's better, and the Packer fans do the same thing. It's like
same thing with Jimmy Graham right now.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of Packer fans didn't like Jimmy Graham last year because he dropped a lot, but it is. If he'd have stayed, they'd have been like, oh, okay. Yeah. But then he left, so they're like, screw that guy, you know. I'm like, not mad that he's gone, because I think that the Packers are ready, like, without him and the price tag that he was getting. But I'm not going to say that he ain't going to do nothing next year, because new offense, maybe it fits him better. Maybe he has a great year. You never know.
Absolutely. Jaylen, what do you got?
So recently you've been talking a lot about the coronavirus online, you know, and obviously there are way more pressing issues than football. But President Trump said just a couple of days ago that he expects the season to start in September. But do you honestly see that happening in regards to the start of the season?
I honestly don't think that the NFL season will start when it's supposed to, because there's like mini camps and training camps and all these camps that have to be going through the summer, but they're not going to be. So if everything is cleared up by September, these players aren't going to be like, you know, they're all going to be out of shape. So I could see them, hopefully it's sooner than that, and it does get played on time, but I could see them bumping it back just a little bit. So these, you know, it really depends like when people can start socializing and going back to work and stuff.
Absolutely.
They can't all be together at these mini camps and training camps, and there's a whole summer of stuff that they do. So I don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, you also got to think that they're on the same playing field if they don't get that training in. But I absolutely get what you're saying. So
yeah, because I did think that like with injuries, I don't know. I think it'll be tough, but that is a far way away. I mean, we're
absolutely
early in April, so.
Yeah, so you recently talked about the new offense in Chicago, and you spoke to how Jimmy Graham might be in a better situation. Obviously, we know everything that's gone on with the Bears this offseason as far as quarterbacks go, so what are your thoughts on our acquisition of Nick Foles?
I think that'll be like interesting to see, because I think they said that they're going to – it's a competition, right?
It's really not a I mean, some people think Jaylen, don't talk. It is a competition. It is a competition. But there actually are reports that Foles is expected to be the starter, but we'll see how it plays out. No one knows what Trubisky's going to bring to the table.
Yeah, I think I was going to say it too. I think Trubisky would really have to light it up in preseason to beat Nick Foles, because Nick Foles, you know, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's done it, but I think it'll be really interesting. But it's good for Bear fans, because you got basically, I mean, Trubisky started, and so if something did happen, whoever starts, they got a really, you know, a backup that can do it.
Absolutely. Parth, do you have one or two more for him?
I was just. You got any questions for us?
Yeah, I guess.
So how long have you guys, not like football related, but how long have you guys been doing this podcast?
I think just over 2 years. We started it a couple of years ago, and then just recently we opened up a website and we started doing writing and stuff like that, so that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been following you guys for a little bit now, and you guys are doing a good job. I seen that last week. You had I forget his name.
Adam Rank.
NFL Network.
Yeah, Adam Rank.
Yeah.
That was sweet.
Yeah, I see him around. I really don't like him because he's a Bears fan, but no, I see. I no, that's a great guest though.
Absolutely.
And then you drop down and get me.
Absolutely. I think I got one more question for you before we hang it up here, but who would you say has been the scariest Bear in your lifetime that you've seen face the Packers? I mean, obviously we know Matt came into Lambeau a couple years ago, but I'm not sure exactly how old you are, so I was interested to hear your answer to that one.
Like, oh yeah, that one player that scared me the most. I think Brian Urlacher was that one Bear who, like, I had the ultimate respect for, and like I knew that he could like change the game and like win a game on defense. But I mean, yeah, because I never really watched Walter Payton because like I was really really young then.
Okay.
But like when my kids were growing up, is like I was remember just watching games with them, and I always knew like Brian Urlacher because he always seemed to have 5 number 2. And they were like they would really battle it out. So he's one player that I respect even now because but there's a lot of great Bear players that get us dirty.
Hopefully Nick Foles is the next one. I mean, I want to ask what our guys think. I think probably the scariest Packer, other than obviously Rodgers to face over the years, has probably not even been Jordy Nelson, but probably Randall Cobb, at least for me.
Yeah.
You think?
Those deep, that one play, NFC Championship, always will be remembering that one.
Absolutely.
So, I actually have a small story about that. So I just moved to Illinois about 7 years ago, and I think this is the year that we went 8-8, and we played the Packers the last game of the season. If
yep.
we would have won, we would have been able to make the playoffs. That was my first year, like, really being a Bears fan, even though I was born in Illinois. But so it was one of the last plays of the game. We just had to get a stop, and Randall Cobb got open somehow. I think it was because of Chris Conti, and he gave me nightmares. I was a young kid at that time. I absolutely hated Randall Cobb for a bunch of years just because of that. So I would have to say Randall Cobb as well. Like I'm glad he's not in the division no more, but you still got Aaron Rodgers with Devontae Adams, which is kind of scary as well.
Yeah, that was a crazy play. That was like just one crazy block by John Kuhn. If you had missed that block, that would never have happened. I remember because I almost died. So I was like that should not have happened. I was like the best case scenario. Like, everything had to go right, and it's just a bizarre play, but I loved it.
Such a Bears ending to a football game, unfortunately. Well, thank you very much.
I was just telling before we go, it's funny because I was just talking to my son, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go on this Bears podcast, and he's like, why? Because we're watching the Packers Super Bowl XLV, and then he's like, you should tell him you're watching Super Bowl XLV. Like, didn't you guys win the division that year?
Yeah,
we did.
man.
Yep, that's we went to the NFC Championship. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
No, but he was just joking around. But yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on, and I love what you guys are doing. The podcasts are tough, and I know. I did it. I just stopped mine recently. I'm gonna start my own little YouTube show instead because I do mine alone. It's tough when you do it alone because you got to have guests on, and it's hard to get I don't know if you guys have had any players on, but
we got our first one tomorrow.
Yeah, players are tough to schedule. Most of them are good, but they'll say, "Yeah, I'll come on," and then they reach out, and then they're not there. Then it's tough. We've
got it that way with one player right now. I can't name names, but we're working on some big stuff. If you guys would like to check out all of Matt's stuff, you can check out his social media. He's on Instagram and Twitter at Matt Ramage. You can also check out the Ramblin' Matt Ramage podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, I believe.
Yeah.
And he also just said recently he's going to start doing something on YouTube, so you can for sure check that out if there are any Packers fans tuning in. But for the Bears fans who are listening, you can find the links to all of our social media down in the description. Parth, me, and Jaylen run some great fan pages. And you can also find more content on beardown.com. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. And that's pretty much it. I don't know how we end this one because normally we say bear down, but I'm not sure if Matt wants us to say that. So, any last words, Matt?
No, thanks for coming on, and you guys keep doing your thing, and it was fun.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And as always, Chicago, bear down. Peace.
Go Pack, go.